Okay, and now give a big round of applause for Lilia. That's right? Is that
right? I apologize. I'm a little shaken because I also got hit on second on a bike. So she was telling that story. I also had flashes. So don't write on second. But I'm not going to tell that story. That would be weird. So I'm going to tell you a story that I hope you all promise not to tell my mother. Because this happened several years ago, and I've still managed to not have her ever know it's probably the sketchiest thing I've ever done. Right? So I grew up in a very organized community, very safe city called Irvine, California. Yeah, some of you had that sigh of like, ugh. I know. And everything in Irvine is planned and perfect, and everything is always like, hello, and how can I help you? No one dies in Irvine, there's no graffiti in Irvine. And so that's how I lived most of my life. And I was studying to be an engineer in college, and I had this best friend who did not grow up in Irvine. She lived on the other side of the country, and she was studying to be a radio major. So our phone calls would go like this. Oh my God, Pasty. Her first name was Rachel, but I met her in a Jew camp. Everyone was named Rachel, so last name Pasty. Oh my God, Pasty, I totally just bombed my electricity and magnetism final in physics. And she'd say, I just watched a Nova video on sharks. And that was our education. So as we graduated college, I was making money and she was eternally broke. But she's who I wanted to travel with. And so the conclusion is that we go to developing countries because that's very cheap. And so the choice is that I would subsidize her, but still, as a Jew, aforementioned, we still want to be somewhat thrifty. So we went to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, which is an amazing, amazing place. And I'd never been to anywhere with the idea of something third world country. This was crazy to me, and my parents were very worried, as was I. But she assured me everything would be fine, and it was for the most part. And we decided to go to Iguazu Falls, which is way up north from Buenos Aires. And if anyone's been to Argentina, they know that the country is Buenos and then nothing. And then other countries. And so the logical conclusion of going somewhere that's 1,600 kilometers, I don't know, miles away, far away, was to take a plane, a little short plane, but that was $160, as opposed to a $16 luxury bus. And I'm buying the ticket, so we take the luxury bus, which is going to be way longer, and I'm nervous about it, and she's, it's gonna be great. We're gonna eat cheese and watch movies, and I'm like, that sounds fun. So we take the bus up, and it is totally great. It's a long, long trip, and as promised, sweaty cheese, and we watched terrible movies of Journey to the Center of the Earth, dubbed in Spanish, so bad. And we went to Iguazu Falls, and they were beautiful. And so on the trip back, I'm thinking, this is awesome. I actually enjoyed the bus trip on the way up here. These big luxurious seats. This will be great. We get on the bus at about 6 p.m. And I remember as we were falling asleep, we stopped once, I think to pick up somebody in a pumpkin patch. I'm not sure. Maybe I was dreaming. And then we stopped one other time. And then it felt like we stopped. But I was probably dreaming because the pumpkin patch, there's no pumpkins in Argentina, so why would that even happen? And I woke up somewhere at 7 in the morning, and it felt like people, just people had been in a small box, sweaty people feeling that we hadn't moved for 6 hours because we hadn't moved for 6 hours because this bus had run out of gas. And my first thought is, third world countries. This would not happen in Irvine. And so I go down to meet with the drivers. Clearly, they just didn't know we were trying to get somewhere. And they're sipping their mate, and they look at me and what? And in my broken Spanish, I'm like, why are we not moving? And they sort of gestured, and I'm like, so what are we gonna do about it? Because it seems like nothing has happened for 6 hours. And they pointed to their cell phones. They're like, no reception. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that's it then. No cell phone reception, so we're just in the fields of Argentina. That's a great thank you. And I'm like, this wouldn't happen. And I get sort of disgusted, and I'm swearing in like the mediocre Spanish swear words I learned from a cabbie about football. Anyway, so, and they say, well, we'll have a commuter bus come and take you to the next city that's up north. But it's smaller than the number of people that are on this bus. So I'm like, I guess I'm not getting on that one. So I turn to Pacey and I'm like, Pacey, get your bag. And she's like, oh, okay. And we walk outside and I'm like, we're taking a cab. And she, where do you see a cab? But there was a cop. There was a cop who was stopping people on this one-way, one road. He was stopping cars and he was like, there's a bus here. Go around. Okay. So we asked the cop to pull over the next bus, and he does. It's an 18-wheeler truck that we proceed to hitchhike on for 1,100 kilometers. These guys were like, we are your guardian angels. You would have become drug mules in Paraguay. And we're like, see. And they try to speak to us, but they don't know how to say anything, so they play the only English music they have, which is Jamiroquai, for 5 hours. And we're like, stop it! Virtual insanity is real insanity. And they eventually took us to the only bus in town, about 70 kilometers north of Buenos. And we're like, come on, we're so close, we're so close. We've been taking turns napping, like, you're not raped yet, I'm not raped yet, you're not raped yet, I'm not raped yet. Okay. Awesome. And they took us to this bus. Yeah, see, gotta go. Where they had all been on strike except for this one. And they only took coins, monedas. But because of a fiscal discrepancy in the early 2000s, there had been a huge haul on all coins. And we had no coins. And we were 70 kilometers north, we'd gone so far. And this homeless guy on the bus is like, you guys need to pay the bus driver. And we're like, we know. You guys need to pay them in 7 pesos. And we're like, we know, in coins. And we'd freak out at him. And we'd tell him we have no coins. And he looks and he goes, okay. And he says, pasajeros, which I think means people on the bus. These girls from the United States made it this far, and they need your monedas. These people probably make 1 moneda a day. And I'm thinking, you're gonna get tased, man. You're getting off of this bus. And within seconds, all these third world people who I had previously been so angry at raised their hands and passed coins forward. And we had the money. And at the next stop, everyone got off. And for the remaining 65 kilometers, we were alone. But we made it.